Welcome to Aunty K's, your favorite radical queer indigenous auntie, bringing you tarot every day. Hi everyone, and welcome to Aunty K's Tarot. So today I'm going to talk about my playing card journey. It definitely started with, I talked about this in my last video, the G-Witch Oracle, Demor's Fortunes, which led to Lenormand, but also I want to learn playing cards. I see that they're different, and experimenting around with decks, reading different sources. I got a friend and a kid a book on playing cards because they were also interested, and I read through it and made notes, and put together how I was reading them. You've seen I should have it out here. My donut deck where I put some of my notes, and these notes have different coding. H, health, there's a money sign if something particular to money shows up. In some cases it does love, education. So sometimes there's something particular. If it's on a certain type of reading, then it's talking about something particular plus some other keywords. So, this is part of how am I going to read this? There's definitely, an increased level of imposter syndrome when, okay, so with tarot, you're learning Rider-Waite-Smith or Tarot de Marseille or Thoth, right? And then there's individual decks. But I haven't found something that said you're reading this style of playing cards and that style in a really clear way. I think I came across one text online and then couldn't find it again. Anyway, I got this book and I was like, this isn't how I'm reading them either. There's some similarities, but he talks about this is my system based on the different sources I came across, and here's some of these widely different sources that and he chose ones that are interesting, and so that was validating. And so that's what I was doing. There's some things I did learn about playing cards. Some of them are really just like oracle decks, right? They very much have a system that was the fancy of the creator. Some are have their transformation decks. They have images with the symbols in them worked into the imagery in different ways and different degrees. This is the Curious Cats Club deck. This is Natural Symphony. This one is got images. It's kind of, I would call it pippy if we're going to talk in tarot terms. Pippish, expressive pips. They tell a bit of a story, not necessarily something we'd see in our everyday lives. But they give feelings, and you can work with them. They may where you can rely on what you know about the cards and the images. I like these two styles, definitely. I like this kind of style depending on the system. I knew I probably wasn't going to like the art, but I'm exploring what I do and don't like in playing card systems. I hoped I would like the art. Sometimes when I'm afraid, I don't watch a walkthrough, and I probably should, or then I end up watching it after I ordered it and realizing things like, oh, of the 4 queens, 2 are BIPOC. Of the 4 kings, 2 are BIPOC. And of the jacks, all of whom represent children and innocence, they are all white. You get a glimpse of some of the images and think this is really charming and cool. I like this one a lot. I think I thought it was Spades though. The keywords. This deck reminds me of what I don't like about Sibylla, which is like, here's the emotion, figure out what people are doing. And I like, here's an action or an image, figure out what people are feeling and thinking. I don't like starting the other way around. So, the art's charming, but when you really look at it, like, it's an all-white deck with 4 token, maybe 5 brown people, but most pointedly, the innocents are not brown. And so, oops, I got a card in there from this. Because I didn't know how I was going to do this video, and I didn't like how I first talked about the cards. So, this really isn't the deck for me, and that's okay, but it showed me something about another system. And I had read about this system of suit designations, and it's definitely not my style. It's not my style. It's not how I designate the suits. This is more closely aligned to how I designate the suits. Okay. So I thought I would do a little experiment, but we're not going to use the donut playing cards, I don't think. Okay, we cleared the table and zoomed out some to get a 9-card box in here. And the 9-card box will read as my fortune-telling relationship. You know, is this going to be the person? Are you guys going to get married? Etc. All right, so when I look at this, I see what's the romance of the situation, the sexual nature, the social nature, new things coming in, or children, commitment, things there are difficulties in the relationship, things they are communicating about, the seeker, and the seeker's person of interest or desire. So, first off, there are 3 5s here. And so what's the blockage? What is going on? And 2 of the 5s represent the romance and the couple. So that's an issue that we see here. We've got 2 queens here. This one's the praying mantis for the Queen of Diamonds in the position of, so this is also Stepfordy feeling to me, like, we're not going to talk about what's wrong in front of other people or let anyone know. We're going to sweep it under the rug. We're going to smile through our teeth. It can also be like, you know, a family weekend or whatever, but that's the feel that I get from it. In So, friend of man, their sexual relationship is friends with benefits. There's more to it than that. You'll notice there's a lot of diamonds going on. Right? And so that is also going to be a part of it. So this is a friends with benefits situation. And there is another queen, a queen he returns to. That is a sticking point in this relationship here. Commitment is a stalemate. Why is it a stalemate? Because there's a wife he returns to, right? So, like, he returns to her, and he is also represented by a card that talks about gossip, all right? Things they talk about, a business trip, something that's new coming up, a short, pleasant trip. This can be other things, but this would make sense. This is coming up, and they're enjoying talking about this because that's when they're going to get on this. And I believe it is a business trip because this card, the two, their social life, talks about like business contracts. So this makes me feel like this came about through work. They got to know each other, traveling business trips. So like on a business trip, not like co-worker in the office, or like they're at the same level and they do these sorts of things, and business arrangement is what brought them together. So they're quite happy together, because they are going to
grin and bear it
through these issues and these difficulties, but there's not going to be a resolution to commitment. It's going to remain a stalemate, which means he's probably not leaving her until, who knows, something goes awry. So in this experiment, let's read this with a different deck of cards. Let's start with the cat deck, because that will be interesting. I'll pause, find the cards, and come back. All right, so here, their relationship is childish pleasure, games, play. Of course, the queens are still the queens, but our friends with benefit revels in the decay. She enjoys the position of the other woman. The commitment level is at a happily burned level. They do have issues about the Queen of Hearts is a sticking point, but she revels in the decay. She doesn't want to upset the situation. It's a perfect amount of burnt commitment going on here. Their discussions are useful tension, and I believe that it's going to be the sexual tension. What's new? Some competitive feelings, button mashing. So some competitive feelings, and probably really banging it out in the bedroom to compete with a fear of what's going on with the wife. The client definitely, is more uneasy about the wife's situation than she admits, which is why it's one of those topics they don't really discuss and is kind of difficult. The person of interest, the keywords in this one is shared leisure and fulfillment, and he's definitely sharing his leisure with two lady folks. He is enjoying this. He is comfortable. Their social life, self-directed motion. So this one, does definitely read differently. And their social lives, I would say, are independent from each other, which is probably going to help prevent them from getting caught, although this behavior might get them caught. Okay, next. Oh, I forgot the shadow, stargazing. This is just dreamy. It's fantasy. as much as they're asking about this, I would say they know that this just resists in the realm of fantasy, and they're actually pretty happy there. So this relationship takes a lot of work. There's a lot of writing and texting going on back and forth, and it seems more that than actual romance. It's possibly getting caught up in the writing and the reading of the messages. The person of interest is tripping all over their Valentine options because they've got two queens going on. The source of the problem being the Queen of Hearts, and this ends up reading the same. The Queen of Diamonds is the friends with benefits, being friends of the desire, and in the sexual portion of this reading, the client is like just this is making them a mess. And we see this in the communication where like they are freaked out about it, they're stressed out about it. That's probably why they're writing all this all of the time. Their social lives are ignored as they read these ongoing messages. This is going to continue to be an uphill climb, so I also don't see them giving up on this situation that's not working out really great for anybody. And as for commitment, it's just, the client can keep fighting for it, but it's not happening because of this situation. The tens are awful in this, and I would say that it's the 10 of hearts, so we're at a completion. This is all the relationship is ever going to be. It's going to last for a while, but this is the culmination, the extent of what it is going to be. Next, before I completely move these, let's talk about how I feel about this deck. I'm enjoying it. I like this style of art on a playing card. I like when I can find a way to work with it. I think you can see that I have. This deck does white and ambiguous, and I want to see ambiguous be something, and I should maybe have a problem with that. That's a term of white supremacy that a crumb I've accepted. I probably will lose interest in this deck when I have something to replace it. I've wondered if that will be the playing card deck I'm making, but it is a different style. So maybe until I make one in this kind of playful style, or until I find something better in this style. But I do like it, even though it's not everything I want it to be. That is relevant because aside from being a style of keywords and suit associations that aren't my deal, and disliking the art, this deck irks me far more than Vivid Kingdoms. Like, I don't know if I can use this deck. I did use it tonight in 3-card readings to give progression, but I don't know if I'll use it. It's an interesting deck, but I don't know if I'll end up using it. So let's see this. I've got my glasses handy for its keywords, and I expect it will have a pretty different feel. All right, relationship, nature. So this is a relationship where they meet outdoors, possibly on short trips into the country. Perhaps they get very much into their animal nature. This is the friends of the desire, which in this portion I'd say is, friends with benefits. They call this card Mother Earth. This one's Queen of Love. That does read for me for, this is who he's returning to. There's kids there. His card is parenthood. Hers is fate. She feels fated to be with him. Commitment would take time. Conversation, champion. They're nailing it home, slaughtering it. What is new? Obstacles. Their social lives portray innocence. Maybe they both have kids and meet up doing things with their kids to hide the fact that there's an affair going on. Harmony. So that didn't work as well for me. If I'm to go with the images, the relationship is based on rolling in the hay. He's got other commitments, and she's just rolling the dice, hoping that if she sticks this out, it will work. Their messages, they're just slaying in the messages, texting, getting all raunchy. They haven't really, it hasn't become an obstacle yet that this situation, which the client definitely dislikes, is ongoing. But it will become an obstacle because the client here is just waiting and waiting for this to work out. Probably they interact with their kids, and maybe these two even actually know each other and produce this false sense of harmony going on. I guess I could read it like that. It maybe works a bit better, but it doesn't fit with me, and I think it's not just that I dislike how they did token this, that they made all the jacks white, but did have two BIPOC queens and kings. That irks me way more than anything. Because in this deck, it also talks about children, innocence, blah, 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 blah. So that really irks me more than anything. But also, I knew as soon as I was reading with it, like, this just isn't, the style isn't my fit. And so that's cool. I know that. And it's not so much about the images or anything. Some of the system of suit designation, but the keywords chosen, like, they don't fit in my personal taste. Like I said, I like the action, so this did work for me, but they're also both helping me learn more what I like. Like, there is a similarity to this one and this one in ways, but this is more like its own. I'm not trying to be anything but my own fun cat deck. And this one isn't even trying to be cartomancy. I'm not sure if this one is or not. and I quite like it. So there is that, and there's how those 4 different decks read when I read them in the exact same reading, which perhaps is interesting.